Good morning and welcome to Weekend Walkabout in our gardens and yours virtually.
We're coming to you from gardenatoz.org. I'm Janet McConovich.
I'm Stephen Nicola.
Our main our main topic today is diagnosing problems, part 2. We're hoping that everyone here has heard part 1, but we'll do a quick recap of that so that we can go on to diagnosing the problems of the day. But we'll start off as we usually do with who we are. That's us.
And that's us again.
And that's us again with Sonia, our daughter, who is the moderator for the chat. She's our super moderator. She not only can keep your questions lined up for question sessions out of the chat, but she's a very good gardener in her own right, and a professor at a university that uses Zoom regularly. So she's technically adept at doing this and can help you out with those kinds of questions too. We've been writing for a long time. We want to keep doing that. We've learned an incredible amount because people take us into their gardens with their questions. We used to write in magazines and on the newspaper, but now we write primarily on Gardenatoz and for these webinars. We start out each week in our weekend walkabouts within our garden. In other words, what's happening in our garden and yours right now in our focus. And we start out each one where we say to each other, so what should we call this week?
Sometimes it's solstice. That's easy.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And we said, well, it is slime mold time. This is the time of year when slime mold shows up, but it's not hurting anybody, and nobody likes to talk about what's called dog vomit fungus. It's just decaying mulch, you guys. It'll just dry up and go away, or you can
stir
it away. Yeah. But it's also lightning bug time.
And they are cool.
Yeah, they're cool and they're beneficial in all of their days. As youngsters, they are eating aphids, they're eating scale, they're eating plant hoppers.
So the more of them you see, the more predators you have.
And as adults, all they're doing is drinking some nectar, eating some pollen, and mating to make more.
Showing you light.
And showing us light, giving us light shows at night. So we're calling this week in our garden lightning bug time. So it's late July focus, and especially your issues. That's how we arrange the part of our website. It's called This Week in Our Garden, as we try to feature those things that are going on right now. Starting with in our garden, our bored lilac. We're gave it a new life. We started out last year with my friend Patrick here, who came by to help me out. He likes to do projects at my house with me. And I said, well, I'm cutting down.
They get to do lots of projects.
Yes, I'm taking an old lilac down and getting another old lilac rejuvenated. Would you like to help? Sure, he said. So we took some things down and left pieces of this old lilac up. You can see it's higher than the house, which is not where we want it to be. It's also the branches, the main trunks had borer damage. You'll see that later on today. Borer damage all through them, so the whole plant was weak. And after we opened up the area, Mr. Buck came through and said, oh, what a great place to knock my antlers around on. So where I was going to leave the remaining fairly best of the worst trunks up, I said, okay, well, so we're going to cut some more of this now. So I left them through the winter. You can see that the new growth coming up of that lilac had bent over, trying to get out of the shade of the top, and was also too weak to stand up. So when we put in the new plant, I had those 2 old trunks there and those floppy branches back there. And now that it's got a new neat companion, I've taken out the old trunks and the floppy wood, and you can see the new straight stuff that's come up. It won't bloom for 2 years. The ones at the bottom will bloom next year. They've been there long enough, but now it's got a new life and it's all clean. And I'll keep cutting it when it's about when each branch, as it gets to be about 8 feet tall, I will take out. And that way it all stays at 8 feet tall. It doesn't stay, the wood is small enough that borers don't get into it.
It's a spot that we don't necessarily see, but our neighbor does, and we want our neighbors to see something that looks good. I mean,
yeah, and I'd like to cut nice lilacs too, not at 20 feet up, but at 8 feet up. And all of the pieces that we left, well, I took those over to Mr. Nicola at his mighty chipper. He just loves this chipper.
It's a good
stays
one.
In our utility area, and he grinds the lilac up into nice mulch for me. He's even kind enough to, I can cut the branches down in big pieces. I don't have to cut everything to 4 feet to set out to the yard waste. He cuts them into the pieces size and is very happy to feed them into the chipper. And it's nice mulch. It's clean mulch. We don't put anything in there that has weed seeds in it. and it becomes a very good
Just-
nutritious mulch. So everything that
and-
grows on the property and the nutrients that went into it stay on the property.
Just found out, don't put pokeweed in there when it's fresh.
It's too wet.
Oh, is it wet? It forms like a slurry inside of there,
Yeah.
a green guck.
I have some pokeweed that I just keep cut small. Which
It's
is
a
a
cool
job.
plant.
It's a cool plant, yeah.